rights. This is a journey across the Rainbow Bridge. And this slideshow has been inspired from the book Eastern Body, Western Mind. And this is by Anadea Judith. And there's a piece in this book that she talks about that really stood out to me, and that's the 7 rights. And as you know, Malachi and progressing in this life, learning about these 7 rights has really allowed me to connect to myself in a more full way. And so I was like, man, I really love this and I want to share this. So I'm really grateful for Jessica to bring her onto this platform. And yeah, now I get to share my excitement around this. So we're going to wait maybe a couple more minutes for people to arrive just in case. But yeah, so well, welcome. Here we are. You're in the now. So wait one more minute here. And if no one joins, we'll get right into it because this will be recorded. And if you didn't catch it now, you can catch it later. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, this is a slideshow on the chakras and the 7 rights. Yeah, and this material is inspired by Anadea Judith's book, Eastern Body, Western Mind. If you haven't picked it up yet, I highly recommend it. It has been really informal and helpful to me. So let's go into the next slide here. Just make a quick acknowledgement. In Anadea Judith's book, she acknowledges Iris. And Iris is the Greek goddess of the rainbow. Her name contains a double meaning. Iris, the rainbow, and Iris, messenger, the rainbow messenger. And in the book, she writes, "It is her to that I owe my discovery of the chakras in Rainbow Bridge." And I like to think that anytime I saw a rainbow as a kid or just in general, I felt like there was some kind of connection to something bigger and greater than myself. So I kind of wanted to acknowledge Iris as well, because I feel like she's kind of reached out to me even as a kid in my fascination with color and rainbow. So I wanted to acknowledge her. And then, of course, my lovely sister, Jessica, who's such an inspiration to me and asked me to kind of join this platform and to give a talk. So super grateful to my sister as well. Just a little bit about the chakras. I'm sure you all are pretty educated on them, but just to go over a little basics. The chakra system originated in India more than 4,000 years ago. I think America is around 500, so very ancient stuff here. Yoga philosophy teaches us that the serpent goddess Kundalini represents the evolutionary life force and energy within each person. By using techniques such as yoga, breathing, physical exercises, meditation, affirmations, and visualizations, we can in turn influence our chakras, our health, and our lives. So bringing more awareness to these subtle energetic centers in our body, we can become more empowered, more fully integrated. So what are the 7 rights? What are these 7 rights I keep talking about? Well, the 7 rights are affiliated with the 7 chakras. And if you look on your screen to your right, you'll see this beautiful colored rainbow here. And each chakra reflects a basic inalienable right. Inalienable meaning birth given. These are, just by existing on this planet, you have these rights. Okay, just by being here, You've been given these rights. The quickest way to minimize the divine within you is to interfere with its basic right. So loss of these rights blocks the chakra. And if you look to the right again on that diagram, the very bottom, it says to be here in the root chakra, the red one, the right to be here. So if you don't feel like you have the right to be, at home, there's a good chance that you're not going to have a good idea of how to feel, okay? Or how to act, or how to love, or how to speak. So when these chakras and rights get blocked, there's kind of a disease or a blockage that kind of happens in our lives. Okay, so loss of these rights block the chakra. Reclaiming these rights is a necessary part of healing the chakra and ultimately yourself. So we want to reclaim these rights. And I feel like a lot of these rights are kind of blocked, or the trauma originates when we're in childhood. How many times were you told as a child, oh, you don't have the right to be here. You can't feel that way. You can't express that kind of anger. That's no way to act. How many times as a kid were we told these things? You're not allowed to see this. So you can see how these blockages kind of may have originated in childhood. This slide here, I wanted to bring in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow was a big psychologist in the 1960s at Esalen, where I spent some of my time at, and he was a big influence there. And he created this hierarchy of needs, and I feel like there's some overlap with the rights and his hierarchy of needs. And if you look at the very bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's physiological needs, basic needs: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing. And the principle behind it is that if we have these basic needs, we can have personal security, safety needs, and employment, resources. So they stack up on top of each other. So if I have the basic necessities, then I can go into friendship, family, love, community. So they build upon each other, and eventually getting to, hopefully, self-actualization, self-realizing. Okay, and so I like to think that there's this overlap with these basic rights that we've been given as well. The right to be here just by existing, the bottom root chakra. I have the right to be here, and by being here, I have rights to air, water, food, okay? So I just wanted to throw this in there. I thought it was a beautiful kind of overlap with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a wonderful quote by Carl Jung, excuse me, who I think gives kind of more of an analytical view of the chakras. The chakras are a great value to us in that they represent a real effort to give symbolic theory of the psyche. Because our psyche is so complicated, so vast, and rich in elements unknown to us, that we have no choice but to turn to symbols to express what we know about it. Because this body and these emotions are so complex, that a great way to grasp and make sense of all this is by using symbolic theory. Okay, so I love that Carl Jung said this piece around chakras, and I think it's very helpful to kind of wrap your head around it analytically. So let's get into our first right, the root chakra. And if you bring your attention to the left side of the screen, go ahead and look at this beautiful mandala of the root chakra, Mudahara, meaning root chakra. And as a disclaimer, I'm no professional at this, and I'm probably going to butcher some of the names, but either way, here we go. So location is at the base of the spine, and its purpose is foundation. Our roots are our foundation. And at the very bottom here, you'll see sound, okay? And this is the seed sound of the root chakra. And I'd like everyone to kind of say this along with me. And when we're saying these words, really kind of match a feeling with the sound. Okay, so the sound is lam. So everyone go ahead and do that. Lam. And when we're pronouncing the A's, you really want to elongate the A's. So again, so one more time. Lam. Beautiful. So its basic right is to be here and to have. This is a basic thing. And I feel like a lot of us, especially if you look into the world right now, there's a lot of war happening. And there's, I think, feelings of people not having the right to be here. So this is an important concept to, I think, understand. So developmental stage, again, like I said, these kind of traumas or these blockages can happen in childhood. And the developmental stage of the root chakra is second trimester to 12 months. So if a mother is in a war-torn country and you're in the womb and there's war going on, there's a good chance that when you're born, there might be a little work there to make sure you feel like you have the right to be here because, things weren't so safe in the womb. So trauma or blockages, that can be birth trauma, abandonment, poor physical bonding with the parents. If I'm not getting a lot of love from my mom and dad, there's a good chance that maybe I don't have the right to feel to be here. Institutional betrayal, that can be like community, that can be your government, that can be an institution that has betrayed you or, you've lost trust in that. Okay, so that can be a blockage. So what we want to do is reclaim these rights. If I felt like I don't have the right to be here, how do I reclaim that right to be here? To find security in the first chakra, we must have an instinctual sense of our right to be here. Instinctual, okay, that's a key word here. An instinctual sense of our right to be here. The root chakra establishes the foundation for the 7 major chakras. This is an important part, just like how Maslow's hierarchy of needs builds upon each other. If we don't have a solid foundation, the rest of the rights and chakras can be harder to access. So without the right to be here, few other rights can be reclaimed. So without that right to be here, it's harder to reclaim these other ones. A corollary to this right is the right to have those basic needs. We all have the right to have food, water, shelter. Those are basic needs, okay? Especially to have what we need to survive, okay? The right to have underlines the ability to contain, hold, keep, and manifest all aspects of a healthy first chakra. All right. So what are some healing practices that we can do to, heal this first chakra? And those look like reconnect with the body, doing a kind of body scan meditation, really becoming aware of the body. Lots of touch, massage. I'm a massage therapist. And when I give, or actually when I receive massage, there's no greater feeling of being home. When I get touched and someone helps me get me back into my body, I really feel like I'm reclaiming myself and my right to be here. So lots of touch. Hatha yoga, active practices, okay? So look at earliest childhood relationships to our parents. Doing that inner childhood work is very important to go deeper with healing these chakras and these rights. So affirmations, I would like us to kind of go through these together and say them aloud. And when you're saying these affirmations, really try to match the sound with the feeling of the words, okay? So this first one, we can all say it together and we'll say them twice. It is safe for me to be here. It is safe for me to be here. Second one, the earth supports me and meets my needs. The earth supports me and meets my needs. I love my body and trust its wisdom. I love my body and trust its wisdom. So really matching the sound with the feeling, matching the words that we were saying aloud can really potentize the affirmation. So our second chakra, bring your attention to the left side of the screen here and look at this beautiful mandala. And this is Sabedisthana, which stands for sweetness. And the location is the lower abdomen. Its purpose is movement, water, change, right? And its sound or seed sound is Vam. Everyone again. Vam. And its basic right is to feel and to have pleasure. What a concept. I have the right to feel. I have the right to be angry. I have the right to be sad. I have the right to have pleasure in my life, hopefully in balance. So developmental stage is 6 months to 2 years. And trauma and blockages that could look like shame, sex shaming. Shaming sex can be, I think, kind of a real blockage to our second chakra. Emotional abuse, being in an emotional abusive relationship, volatile situations, being in a violent situation can really block our ability to feel. If I'm in a very violent environment, I'm not going to express myself maybe. And so we got religious and moral servantee. So religion and churches can really kind of shut this chakra down in a way, maybe not in the most skillful, healthiest way. So reclaiming the right to feel and to have pleasure. If a culture that frowns upon emotional expression or considers sensitivity a weakness infringes upon our basic right to feel. So if your community or your household, your family doesn't allow you to express yourself, there might be some blockages here. Do you give yourself permission to feel? Do you allow yourself to be angry? Do you allow yourself to experience pleasure? All great questions that we need to ask ourselves. So when the right to feel is impaired, we can become out of touch with ourselves, numb, disconnected, unable to express ourselves emotionally. A corollary to this right is the right to want. It is completely healthy to have desire to want something. That is completely fine. Since if we cannot feel, it is very difficult to know what we want, right? So again, going back to the way these chakras stack upon each other, if I don't have that sense of groundedness and foundation, like the root chakra, there's a good chance that I'm not going to know how to feel or what I want. So this is a good point to bring in the excess and deficiency. We can have too much of any of the chakras. So all the 7 chakras have an excess and deficiency. So if I have an excess of my second chakra, there might be sexual addiction, pleasure addiction, ruled by my emotions. You ever been around those people that is just, their emotions are kind of just ruling the situation, having poor boundaries, emotional dependency. Okay. So as we know in life, it's important to be in balance with everything. And too much, sexual addiction. If you look at the internet these days, there's this huge porn addiction that's happening. It's devastating. So we want to keep this stuff in check and in balance. So if you're deficient, that can look like rigidity in the body. If you ever seen someone that's really kind of closed off, rigid, really stiff, there's not a lot of movement in there, okay? So we can see rigidity in the body, fear of sex, poor social skills, denial of pleasure, not allowing yourself to have pleasure, and fear of change. So healing practices for the second chakra is movement therapy, lots of movement. Going swimming, going into the ocean is a great way to heal the body in that second chakra. Allowing the water to hold you and take over. Emotional release or containment as appropriate. Containment as appropriate, meaning not allowing my emotions to take over and run the show. I'm not being reactive to things in life. Inner child work, looking at our inner child. Assign healthy pleasures, making sure we assign these healthy pleasures such as conscious eating. I love eating consciously. I don't know if you've ever done it, but when you take that scoop of ice cream and really savor every moment, it's an incredible experience. To experience our the taste of things, or the smell. If you ever smell jasmine flowers, wild jasmine flowers, it's incredible experience to consciously witness and experience these amazing gifts. So affirmations, again, let's all say these aloud. I deserve pleasure in my life. I deserve pleasure in my life. Second one, I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to feel. Number three, I move easily and effortlessly. I move easily and effortlessly. So second chakra. Now we moved on to the third right. And if you bring your attention again to the left side of the screen, Manipura, this is the main chakra that kind of got me into discovering the rights. The third chakra is more about willpower, asserting yourself, and I was lacking that in my life. And that's when I found this book and really helped me regain my willpower. So this third chakra I have a lot of connection to. And Manipura represents lustrous gem. In its location is the solar plexus. Purpose is transformation. And seed sound or sound, again, everyone, Ram, Ram. And when we're saying these sounds, really start the base of your belly, start the sound there. And by the end of we end up here. So Ram. Basic right is to act and be an individual. To act. You have the right to act in the world, okay? And hopefully act appropriate. Developmental stages, 18 months to 4 years. And trauma or blockage can look like shaming. I don't know if you've ever been shamed for acting out. You've been shamed in a maybe unskillful way. Domination of will, physical abuse, inherited shame from parent. If the parent has their own work that they haven't done around shame, they can sometimes leech that on to the children. So we want to be aware of these things, okay? Reclaiming the right to act. Most people follow in the footsteps of others, afraid to innovate, afraid to be free. When the right to act is restricted, will and being spontaneous, go out with it, and our vitality decreases. This does not imply that the third chakra profits by senseless acts, but that we need freedom to develop our inner authority, our inner king or queen. A corollary to this right is the right to be free. We all have the right to be free. You all have the right to be free. healing practices can look like risk taking. This one was like a little edgy for me. I was like, oh, risk taking, but what a great healing practice to maybe go into public speaking. Public speaking is not my forte, but because I've done a little work around my willpower, I'm going to take a little bit more risk and put myself out there and see what happens. So risk taking, it's a great healing practice. Grounding and emotional contact, asserting your will, maybe speaking up in a situation where, you know what, I don't necessarily agree with that. So speaking up and asserting your willpower. Release or contain anger. So there's two, releasing your anger or containing it. Again, like we said, there can be an excess or deficiency in these chakras. So work on shame issues. That can be another healing practice. And then the affirmations, again, we all say these together, starting from the top. I honor the power within me. I honor the power within me. Number two, the fire within me burns through all blocks and fears. The fire within me burns through all blocks and fears. Number three, I can do whatever I will to do. I can do whatever I will to do. A little bit more on the third chakra. Symbolically speaking, the solar plexus is the place of the sun. Mastery of this chakra is equivalent to mastery of the emotions, a tremendous power. And yes, it is. At Esalen, during my time there, I learned to communicate in an emotional state when I was angry, okay? Being able to communicate in an emotional state is very powerful, like she says here. Being able to articulate yourself and get your point across when you're angry or emotional in a non-violent way is extremely amazing to be able to do. So let's take a second, maybe readjust ourselves. We're at the midpoint of our journey here on the Rainbow Bridge. And we've made it to our fourth chakra, the heart chakra, anahata, to unhurt. And this is the mediator of our lower and higher nature. The heart chakra is the mediator of our lower nature and our higher nature. In this beautiful quote here, here in the band of green lies the center of the Rainbow Bridge, the midpoint of our journey. Like the green growing plants which push up towards the heavens from their roots in the earth, we too reach outward in two different directions, inquiring the manifesting current as we reach beyond ourselves. In the heart chakra, these currents come to perfect balance in the center of our being. From the sacred center of the heart, we enter the mystery of love. That was such a beautiful quote. So let's get into the fourth right and chakra here. Again, if you bring your attention to the left side of the screen, taking in this beautiful symbol here, we have two triangles, one pointing up and one pointing down, signifying the union of masculine and feminine energy. Location is in the chest, in the heart. Its purpose is love and balance. Balance is key. In sound, again, everyone let's say this together. Yam. Yam. So its basic right is the right to love. You have the right to love and be loved. What a concept. It is amazing to be loved. It's such an incredible experience to be witnessed and loved. Developmental stage, 4 to 7 years. It would be devastating as a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old to not be loved. There's so many cases I'm sure are happening out in the world that this is the case. And as a child, that's going to be devastating. So when you grow out of that childhood into adulthood, and there's this kind of blockage around love or being loved, it's really hard to accept love. We need to look at that and reclaim that right. So traumas or blockage can be rejection. We all know how it feels to be rejected. It sucks. It really does. So that can kind of, really hurt. But let's not take it personally. Shaming is a really, great way to block this stuff. Okay. Betrayal, divorce, having a divorce in the family can be, seeing two parents not come together, not demonstrating what real love looks like, can be pretty devastating. Death of a loved one. If you ever lost a loved one, I think you know how painful that can be. So reclaiming the right to love and be loved, this basic issue we encounter in the heart chakra deals with balance, love and relationships. So basic issues come up with balance, love, and relationships. Through balance, we find a center from which we can love. Through love, we form relationships. And through relationships, we have the opportunity to transform the self-centered ego of our lower chakras into awareness of the larger realm in which we are embedded. So again, it is the mediator of our lower and higher nature. If I want to access my higher nature, I want to come up to my heart. The heart chakra is the mediator of a lower nature. Really important concept to take in. Healing practices. The heart chakra is affiliated with air. Its elemental symbol is air. So breath work, pranayama, doing breath work can really help activate the heart chakra. Having an emotional release of grief. In my work at Esalen, I've had these emotional releases, and it is just overwhelming. It's amazing to feel this kind of connection to your heart. So forgiving yourself and others, that is a huge and hard thing to do. To forgive somebody for doing something really crummy, being real unskillful. It's hard to forgive people, but it is important. So again, looking at our inner child work, a lot of this stuff originates in childhood. Affirmations, let's say these together. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. I forgive myself and others. I forgive myself and others. Really matching the sound with the feeling. I am receiving a higher love. I am receiving a higher love. I live in balance with others. I live in balance with others. Almost everyone who undertakes a true spiritual path will discover that a profound personal healing is a necessary part of his or her spiritual process. When this need is acknowledged, spiritual practice can be directed to bring such healing to body, heart, and mind. This is by Jack Cornfield, someone who I just discovered and would go to Esalen all the time, and I didn't know he was there visiting when I was there. So I'm really bummed I missed some of his lectures, because this quote and the book that he wrote on the heart is incredible. And I like to think about, my process, my own personal process of healing. I've done some really deep healing around my father and confronting him about some things that I felt he did maybe unskillful. And in that conversation I had with him, there was this deep healing, I had even more love for my father. I wasn't even angry at him. I was just, grateful that we had this conversation to acknowledge something that had happened. And so by doing this, my own personal healing, have this new appreciation for my spiritual practice. So it's amazing what can happen when we do this personal healing, that it unfolds other things. The fifth right, our fifth chakra, throat chakra, Vishuddha, meaning purification. Bring your attention to the left. Look how beautiful this chakra looks. We have the downward triangle again, feminine energy. Location is the throat. Purpose is communication and creativity. It's seed sound. Again, everyone. Hum. Basic right is to speak and to be heard. You all have the right to be heard. You all have a voice, and I think it's very important that it is heard. Developmental stage, 7 to 12 years. So when we're 7 and 12 and we're developing our throat chakra and we're being told lies or having verbal abuse or saying, hey, you can't speak that way, a blockage can happen. So not being heard or understood. I really resonate to this. I feel like there's times that I'm not understood, and it can be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating to not be understood, plain and simple. Authoritarian parents, don't talk back to me. Have you heard of that? You know, you get those parents, don't talk to me like that. Reclaiming the right. And reclaiming the right to speak and to hear truth. This is kind of a corollary to this right, is to hear truth. We have the right to hear fact, truth, okay? This right can be damaged when we are not allowed to speak truthfully in our family. When our parents, culture, or government lie to us, there is abuse to this right. I think, you know, looking at, in my experience, I feel like the institutional government, our society, there's a lot of non-transparency happening, and there's a lot of lies being told. So collectively, I really feel like this chakra and this right has been blocked, or could have been blocked. So learning clear communication skills is essential to reclaiming this right. Again, like I said, when I learned to communicate in when I was very emotionally or angry, learning how to communicate in that state was very profound. I was like, wow, I'm able to hold this feeling that I feel, but also articulate it in this very calm and collective way. So deficiencies and excess. So fear of speaking, that can look like when we have a deficiency in our throat chakra, we're afraid to talk. Small, weak voice. I don't know. You know, difficulty putting feelings into words. This is very important. Putting that feeling into words is so powerful. So when we have excess, too much talking, I feel like I'm talking too much, but this is what I'm here for. Inability to listen. You ever had those friends who just love talking but aren't the best listeners? It can be frustrating. When you have that person who has a dominating voice in the room, you can really hear them. It's like, whoa, okay, you're in your throat chakra, right? And interruptions. If you've ever been in a group of friends and we're all talking and you have that one friend who just keeps interrupting or cuts you off when you're talking, it'd be kind of a, you know, disrespectful. So healing practices, releasing your voice, singing, chanting, humming, vibrating your throat. Develop communication skills, non-violent communication. These are the tools that we can learn to help articulate ourselves. Affirmations, again, let's all speak these together. I hear and speak truth. I hear and speak truth. I express myself with clear intent. I express myself with clear intent. My voice is necessary. My voice is necessary. Number 4, Creativity flows in and through me. Creativity flows in and through me. Vishuddha, fifth chakra. So a sign of a, healthy fifth chakra, one that is connected to both mind and body. It is a resonant and rhythmic voice that speaks truthfully, clearly, and consciously. Conversation with others is balanced with a true ability to listen and respond. So that is sign of a healthy fifth chakra. Now we've come to the third eye, the Ajna chakra. Bring your attention to the left side of the screen. The beautiful Om symbol in the middle here, the sound of creation. And Ajna is to perceive and command, to perceive, to see. Location is in the forehead, third eye. Purpose is pattern recognition, noticing patterns in life. Sound, seed sound is Om. Again, Om. And its basic right is to see and to be seen. She didn't put this to be seen in there. I wanted to add it because I had this interaction at the gym the other day, and it really stuck out to me. There's a friend that I've met there at the gym, and his name is Coach, calls himself Coach. And I said, "Hey, Coach, it's good to see you." And he replied, "Malachi, it's good to be seen." I was like, wow, that really hit me. How many of us want to be seen and to be acknowledged, and how important that really is. So I want to thank Coach for saying that. It's good to be seen. Okay, we have eyes, we take up space. You're going to see me. Developmental stages, adolescence, trauma or blockage that can look like, what you see doesn't go with what you're told. How often is that happening in our society? It can be really just like, fucking smack to your third eye, excuse my language. When what I see is happening doesn't match up with what I'm being told. Invalidation of intuition in psychic occurrences. How many times were you told, oh, those are just dreams? Oh, that premonition is just, it's just something else. Might be something more there. Imagine a culture that really encouraged and rewarded us for embracing our dreams and our intuition. Imagine that. So blockage can be war zone or violence. Being in a war zone, we don't want to see that. It's so traumatic to see war and hate and violence. So reclaiming the right to see. This right is damaged when we are told that what we see or perceive is not real. When things are deliberately hidden or denied, such as parental drinking, or when breadth of our vision is discounted. As inner sight develops within us, illusions are shattered, dreams are integrated, clarity begins, and consciousness extends yet another step up. While each of our chakras brings us information, it is the task of the sixth chakra to assemble that information into meaningful patterns. The self-reflection leads to self-knowledge and wholeness. Excess of the third eye or third chakra can be hallucinations, delusions, obsessions, difficulty concentrating, nightmares, being deficient, acting out to be seen, look at me, doing something kind of extravagant, or acting out can be a way of, I want attention, I want to be seen. Insensitivity, if someone's very insensitive, there might be a deficiency there. lack of imagination. We have denial, can't see what's going on. Monopolarized, one true and right way. I have a couple of friends like that who are just speak so matter of factual, and it's this way. So the right is to see and be seen. Healing practices, create visual art, do some art. It's a wonderful practice to see what you are creating, all the colors and patterns and stuff. This is really stimulating to the eyes in the third chakra. Witness a sunrise or a sunset. It is incredible to watch the color spectrum of a sunset. A side note too, watching a sunrise sets up your circadian rhythms for success. So there's a win-win there. Guided visualizations like Yoga Nidra is a great way to guide people through a visualization, storytelling. Connect image with feeling, meditation, and yantra. A yantra is a visual mantra. Mantras we sing, yantra is something we look at. So if we look at the sixth chakra in the top left screen here, visually we can have this connection to it, taking in the Om symbol, looking at the triangle, looking at the circle, the colors. This is a yantra. We can look at it and become visually stimulated. Affirmations. Let's all speak these together. Number 1, I see all things in clarity. I see all things in clarity. Number 2, I see and feel truth. Rematching the sound with the feeling. I see and feel truth. Number 3, I'm open to the wisdom within. I am open to the wisdom within. Another quote here, the innumerable what ifs that delight childhood curiosity openly explore possibilities as they try to decipher the patterns that influence their lives. This is spirit moving towards its natural goal of liberation and understanding. It is essential to support this imaginative creativity if the child is to remain open to the expansion of his or her own spirit. This is a little poem I put together while I was creating this slideshow, and it's supposedly the information age. And when I was making the slideshow, I had some things happen where I was like, oh, it doesn't really feel like anyway, so let's get into it. I am living in a day and age where I'm being told what I am allowed to feel, to see, hear, and believe. My main way to find out information is Google's search engine, which prioritizes its biased beliefs and agenda. YouTube's optional restricted mode determines if what I'm viewing is or isn't mature enough for me to see. Yet its algorithm will show me diabolic videos whenever it pleases. More than ever, truth and transparency is needed. This truth and transparency abodes within. True discernment comes from mastery of the mind, body, and spirit. The practice is self-inquiry, going within, asking self the questions, and gaining the ability to listen to that wisdom within. So inquire within and learn to listen to these feelings and this wisdom that's within us all. So information age, and information has to do with the 7th chakra, Sahasrara, thousandfold or thousand-petaled lotus. Look how beautiful the chakra is. You got the Om symbol in the center, radiating out, infinite. So the petals represent divine divinity or divineness or spirituality. So location is crown of the head, top of our crown here. Purpose is understanding. Its purpose, our seventh chakra, its purpose is understanding what is going on. What is this amazing, incredible miracle of life? Sound. Again, everyone together. Om. Om. And its basic right is to know and to learn. You have the right to know and to learn. That's a freaking given right in this life. Developmental stage is early adulthood and after. So this is something we are continuously working on, isn't after into adulthood as well. So trauma and blockage, withheld information, not being told certain things can be really frustrating. Education that thwarts curiosity. So if you're in the school system, I grew up in Texas, and at that time, the school system, I felt really kind of suppressed my creativity or didn't know how to handle it. So I feel like I had some blockage there. Invalidation of one's beliefs. Yeah, you don't believe that. Don't trust that inner wisdom that's coming from within. Yeah, that's, we'll invalidate that. Blind obedience, no right to question or think for oneself. We just go along in life, blindly obedient and just kind of victim to the circumstances of life. Maybe some blockages there. So reclaiming the right to know and to learn. To deny information and education is to close down the natural questions of the seventh chakra. This includes the right to accurate information, the right to truth, the right to knowledge, and simply the right to know what's going on. The seventh chakra is about merging with the divine consciousness and realizing our true nature. Healing practices include reestablish spiritual connection, learn and study spiritual discipline, develop the inner witness. In affirmations, let's say these together. Divinity resides within me. Divinity resides within me. I am open to new ideas. I am open to new ideas. I am guided by a higher power. I am guided by a higher power. So that's the end of the Rainbow Bridge. Congratulations, you've made it all the way across. You have gained access to all your 7 rights. And now we're going to really integrate it all with this wonderful mantra, the Bija mantra, Bija meaning seed. And these are to the left, if you look at the screen, we're going to cover those same seed sounds that we had talked about. And for this exercise, we're going to go through all 7 of them, but we're only going to say Om once. Okay, so we don't need to say Om twice. And just this first round, just kind of watch me. And then the second round, I want you to join in. And on the third one, we'll all be doing it hopefully together. Okay, so this first round, just watch me. So Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. Slight pause. Now let's all join in at the very bottom. Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. Last time. Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. So if you're needing to unblock your chakras or reconnect with all 7, this is a great mantra here. So these sounds become a mantra, acting as a kind of key to help you unlock the chakras. So that's a wonderful little mantra. Hopefully that was helpful. And we've made it to the end of the slideshow here, and I want to thank all of you for showing up and participating in this. I know it's not easy to connect with these things. A lot can kind of come up in these conversations. And if stuff has come up for you, or if you want to know more about these 7 right swirless chakras, Jessica, my sister, and I are going to be a resource for all of you. So feel free to reach out anytime. And yeah, and so that's the end of the slideshow. And I want to open up for any questions here. I'm gonna see if I can and give Jessie the make her the host again here. Let's see. I don't know actually how to do that. This wasn't approval. Okay, cool. All right. Well, looks like there's no one in have a question here. So we'll just go from here. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. And what I'm gonna do is end the recording. I want to thank Michelle for coming out. Thank you, Michelle, for being here, witnessing that. I really appreciate you. Yay! And let's see, we can go ahead and pause recording or stop recording. All right. Everyone. Thank you so much.
Did you hit stop on record?
Yeah, it says stop cloud recording. Stop.